Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now I'm in a bit of a book slump at the minute. Filming reading vlogs are out the window. I cannot film a reading vlog right now because in the last week I think I've started and put down about 8 or 9 different books. So a sit-down video it is. So I asked over on my Instagram some sit-down videos that you guys would want me to film, and some of you came back with a bunch of different things, but I seen a few people ask for me to like chat through some of my 5-star reads and some of my favourite reads of the year so far. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Now I thought that this was going to be an amazing idea. I was like, oh my god, that's amazing, but I have only read 7 5-star reads this year so far, which is alright, you know, 7, that's more or less 1 5-star read a month. That's amazing, I'm fine with that. But I feel like this video would be all of 4 minutes long if I only spoke about those 7 books. I've added in some of my rereads, so I've done some rereads of my 5-star reads, we can chat about them, and some of my honourable mentions as well. Some of my favourite books that weren't quite 5-star, but you know, I still can't stop thinking about them, so they deserve an honourable mention. So without further ado, grab yourself a fun little drinky drink and let's get into the video. Now I'm just gonna pull these books to the front of here so they're easy to reach, but they're in order. I think I've put them in order anyways. Yeah, they're in order, so we're just gonna start with the first one. And the first 5-star read I had of this year was From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I love this book so much. Now, I am not going to try and sit here and explain to you what the From Blood and Ash and Flesh and Fire series is about, because I would not do it justice. It is a whirlwind to get into, like the world building, everything. Mind-blowing. Okay, I still don't fully understand, because you're following from Poppy's POV, and at the start of this she's sort of this like sheltered maiden who is basically trapped, and she's very naive to the world. She doesn't really know anything that's gone on in the history of the world that she lives in, and she's been fed lies her whole entire life. So we are kind of discovering things as Poppy discovers things. So I don't know anything because Poppy doesn't know anything, but trust me, it gets better, okay? The books get better and they are so good, okay? I've read the first 3 books in the From Blood and Ash series, and now I need to go in with the first book from the Flesh and Fire series. I spoke about this in multiple videos. There's a whole reading order. I'll leave the link down below for the reading order that I'm following specifically. So I've read the first 3 in the From Blood and Ash, and now I need to go in with the first book from the Flesh and Fire series, which I haven't got around to doing yet, but I will once my slump is over. But this had been my TBR for so long. Like I think I bought this back in 2022 maybe, or 2023. It'd been a while, and I said to myself at the start of this year, if I don't read it then I'm going to get rid of it, because in my head I generally just thought that this was a spicy dark vampire romance. That's honestly what I thought it was. Boy was I wrong. This was so good. Now the last 2 books that I've read in this series haven't been as good as the first one, because in the first one we've kind of got this like forbidden romance situation going on. There's like a betrayal, the secret. It's really good. The first one is so good. And then my second 5-star read is Unsteady by Peyton Corrine. 5 star. I could give this 6 stars. I still think about this book on a daily. Like Sadie and Reese, they deserve my heart. Now if you love like the Binding 13 and Keeping 13, if you love those, these books are kind of like a condensed down version of them. Like if you love the trauma that those 2 books bring you by Chloe Walsh, then Peyton Corrine books are kind of similar vibes. They will rip your heart out, but then they like build you back together, but in a more condensed version. And I loved this. It was so good. So we have Reese and Sadie, and now they both have sort of like a traumatic thing happening to them. So Reese, he's a hockey player and he suffers from like a concussion, and then from that concussion he then has like PTSD. And then we have Sadie on the other hand, who's a figure skater, but she's also looking after her younger brothers because her dad's a drunk and her mum's like disappeared. So she's trying to get custody basically of her younger brothers, and she's basically raising her younger brothers, and like the crossover between them and like the ending with like the family. It's so good. Honestly, I love this book. I think I was on like chapter 2. I read this in my TBR takedown in January, my first ever TBR takedown video. Definitely go watch that. But I think I read this and I devoured it in one sitting, and then I think I was on like chapter 3 and I was crying. I was like, why am I crying? I don't even know these characters, but the way that she writes, so good. And then, you can probably tell by this chunk of a book right here, we've got a Zodiac Academy book, and this is book number 7. If you've read Zodiac Academy, then you will understand why book number 7 is a 5-star for me, because the emotions that this book pulled out of me, I've never experienced while reading a book. Honestly, I don't even know what video I read this in, but I read it in a video and I was sobbing. I had to take a break from reading because I couldn't even read anymore because my eyes were just so filled with tears. I was like, the tears were streaming down my face that I couldn't even see the words on the paper anymore. I had to take a break. I had to take a breather and then go back into this. Now, don't get me wrong, if those last 100 pages, not even 100 pages, if those last like 50 pages weren't there, this wouldn't be a 5-star. Like, it's so crazy how much those few pages changed this book for me, because it's a big book, okay? It's a very chunky book and we've got a lot of nothing going on, but you love these characters so much that you just love spending time with them. Like, they could literally just be sitting around the table talking absolute nonsense and I will be having the best time because I just love these characters. It's like watching your favourite reality TV show. Nothing really happens, but you just love watching it because you just love watching these people. Like, it's just car crash TV. That's what the Zodiac Academy is like. I can't really go into what this story is specifically about because obviously it's book number 7 in a very big series, but just know it will crush your soul. The whole series. And then we've got another Peyton Corrine book. The fact that I have 2 Peyton Corrine books back to back, 5 stars, is insane. I knew that I was going to love this so much because the main character in this, Freddie, he suffers from ADHD, dyscalculia, dyslexia, and that's it. That's basically what all I suffer from. And Freddie, because he suffers with those, he's a hockey player, by the way. He plays on the same team as Reese, obviously in Unsteady, as part of a series. Because he's a hockey player, he's in college, he feels like that he's had to go to college just because, you know, he feels like he has to prove something to himself, and you really see him struggle throughout this whole book. He then gets Ro to, like, what's it called? Tutor him. So she's on like the tutoring staff and she ends up being paired with him to tutor him, and that's where like the romance blossoms. But Ro was actually Sadie's best friend and roommate in college from Unsteady, so like there's a big crossover. There's also a 3rd book coming out, which is going to be Bennett. Is that his name? Bennett? I think that's his name. And I'm very excited for that book because I don't know, I feel like Bennett's gonna be the perfect like broody, and I think he's got like OCD, so like you can kind of see the theme of like Peyton Corine's books. They've all got this like traumatic thing, and like in this one, Ro has got a very toxic boyfriend, like on again, off again. He's very toxic, he's very like manipulative, and he just looks down at Ro and tries to like think that he's better than her when realistically she's the queen and she's much better and smarter than him, and he just tries to dismiss her, belittle her. Very toxic. We don't need that in our life. But then Freddie comes in and like treats her like a queen. I just love him. It was so cute. I still think about these characters. There's something Peyton Corrine puts in her books and it's like crack. Literal crack. And then after that, you can probably tell what these 2 books are, but we've got Binding 13 and Keeping 13. I read these back to back because I felt like I needed to, because they're kind of like, they're the same storyline, that they both follow Johnny and Shannon, the Johnny and Shannon's story. Now I say each book, but like each numbered book. So the 13 books are Johnny and Shannon books, and then you have the 6 books which are Joey and Aoife's books, and then like the 7 books are Gibbsy and Claire books, and like all the numbers are like dedicated to different couples in the Boys to Tom series. But these are the first 2 books in the Boys to Tom series, and oh my god, I cannot explain to you how traumatizing these books were. No, I was a bit skeptical going into these. I'd said a few times on my channel that I didn't want to read them because they're quite young, so they're like 15, 16, 17, 18, around that age range, and I didn't really want to be reading, like I'm 26 years old, I didn't want to be reading about people 10 years younger than me and like getting into relationships and things like that. But it's just so much more than that. It's not just like don't get me wrong, they were like spicy chapters. I skipped over them. I didn't need to be reading those. I feel like skipping over those, it didn't really take away from the story for me. Like, I wasn't reading the story for the romance. Well, I was, but not for like, you know, the intimate bits anyway, because these are just so much more. It's about found family, it's about friendships, it's about just finding yourself and becoming a better person and just finding your people in life, whether that be blood or not. Like, it's just an amazing story, and I really need to read the next books, but I've taken a bit of a hiatus from the Boys at Home books because if I read too many of them at once, I think my heart will physically stop beating. And then lastly, my most recent 5-star read, which I haven't read yet, is Stephanie Garber's Gloves Off. This is the 4th book in the Vancouver Storm series, and I love this book, okay? Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was the perfect sort of banter, spice, romance, plot, like everything you need in just a general romance book, like a hockey romance book. Like, those aren't my favourites. The hockey romances, they're my favourites. And there was a perfect amount of plot, perfect amount of banter between characters, the perfect amount of like everything. Just even like the little glimpses you get from the other characters, the family aspect. Oh, it was so good. I loved this so much. I think I was kind of like slumping a little bit. Not slumping, but I feel like I couldn't really get into many books. And then I picked this up, it just been released, and I still haven't got the physical copy yet. I don't know why. But I just started reading it, and I read it within like more or less one sitting. I read majority in one sitting, then I finished the rest the following day. I devoured it. It was so freaking good, okay? I could not get enough of this book. Just, you have to read the series. So the first 2 books were really good. So they are Behind the Net and Fake Out. I did really enjoy those 2. They were like a 4 point something. But then I read The Wingman, and I was very excited to read The Wingman, but The Wingman was a letdown for me. I think I rated it like a 3-star. Like, it was still good, but it just let me down. I wasn't really connected to the characters in that one. I don't know why, and like the relationship I just wasn't really connected to. But this one, Gloves Off, was so good. Like, I haven't rated just a simple hockey romance 5 stars in so long. I've got hair on my face. But yeah, it'd been so long since I've just devoured a hockey romance and thought, do you know what, that is a 5-star read. Like, I enjoyed myself so much, and I feel like I always like overthink my 5-star reads, and I feel like, oh, I end up being too critical of myself. But I was like, no, do you know what, I enjoyed myself so much. There wasn't a single part of that book where I was bored or that I would change. I had the best time. That's a 5-star. So I give it a 5-star, and that was the last 5-star I've had so far this year. So what we've had some amazing reads. We've had like a mix of like romance and fantasy. We're saying that we've only had 2 fantasy 5-star reads this year so far. That's insane, because I feel like majority last year was fantasy, but I've been on a very romance heavy streak this year. Last year I was very fantasy heavy, but this year I'm very romance heavy. Don't get me wrong, I'm still reading my fantasy books, but I feel like majority of my reads this year have been romances. And I feel like we've got a running theme here of traumatic. That's literally what this is. Other than From Blood and Ash and Gloves Off, the rest of these books have been traumatizing in some sort of way. But I'm now gonna move these books around, and we're gonna speak about some honourable mentions. But I'm first gonna speak about the 3 books that I've reread this month, not this month, this year, that have been 5 stars for me. Obviously they were 5 stars initially, but I've just reread them and they're still 5 stars, because I don't really, if I reread something, I'm not really gonna re-rate it, because obviously when I read it initially the first time round, it was a 5 star. So, and rereading a book, you kind of know what to expect, so you're not gonna get the full experience. So these are the 3 books that I have reread, and first up we read Fulfilling, which I love this book so much. So when I reread this, I did the dramatized, the dramatized version that you can get, like the audiobook version, and I highly recommend. I don't know why people don't like it, but I feel like I love the dramatized versions of audiobooks. I felt like I was in a movie. I really did. It was so good. Like, you have the background noises and like the sound effect, and don't get me wrong, it does skip a little bit. Now, if I would only listen to the dramatized adaptations if it was like, if it was a reread, because it skips quite a lot. Not a lot where you're missing loads, but like sometimes you just miss some like inner monologue and like some unnecessary things. But I had the best time listening to the dramatized version and reading along, so it was like a full immersive experience. It was so good. This is definitely still a 5 star for me. So I obviously did a reread of this for Ready for Onyx Storm. I did a reread of Iron Flame as well. I'm not going to speak about Iron Flame, but Ready for Onyx Storm, I reread this, but I highly recommend you listen to the dramatized version. Definitely. And then 2 of my most recent rereads have been Everbroken Kingdom and Everbroken Souls. I would have read Everbroken Kingdom in my most recent 24 readathon I did, because I'm currently in the middle of reading Ever Broken Souls, which is the third book in this Ever Broken Fate series. I say I'm in the middle. I'm obviously slumping, so I've had to soft DNF at the minute. Not DNF, but you know, I've had to put it down just while I get out of my slump, because I want to actually enjoy myself while reading it. But yeah, I love these books. Mads Rafferty, I don't know what she puts in a book, but it is honestly like crack. These are both still 5 stars to me. These books just, I don't know what it is. They just feel like home. That's the only way I can explain it. They honestly do just feel like home. But these books like follow Delilah, and at the start of these she's a human, she's living in the human realm, she's a princess to the human lands, and her father's basically very abusive, he's very horrible to her, and one day she discovers the Fae realm, and the Fae realm has basically been vanished for 150 years. No one has ever seen the Fae because they've been vanished for the last like 150 years, so no one's seen them. But she one day stumbles across some Fae, and then she ends up in the Fae realm, and there's a whole story of how she needs to like save the Fae because they've been trapped within their world and everything, and it's a great story. Honestly, you should definitely go read Ever Broken Fate and Ever Broken Kingdom, and then Ever Broken Souls by Mads Rafferty. Highly recommend. Now on to my honourable mentions. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 books here, but 3 out of the 7 are kind of like one because they're part of a series. Now, I feel like I'm in the minority of people that really enjoyed this book, but it's Sail Remember Me by Abby Menez. I've seen so many people say that they didn't like this book, but I love this book. This is a 4.5. It wasn't quite a 5 star, but it was still an amazing read. I felt like I really connected to certain parts of this book. So it follows Xavier. I say Xavier, but I've heard people say Xavier as well. I'm just gonna say Xavier because it's easier, sorry. And what's the female character called? Samantha. So Xavier and Samantha. Now Samantha's mother is suffering from dementia and Xavier's a vet. But at the start of this we have Samantha who lives in, I think it's Minnesota. Anyway, that's where most of the Abby Menez books are based. But anyway, at the start of this they're based somewhere, and then Samantha has to move across to LA basically. But anyway, at the start of this, Xavier and Samantha are in the same place, and they have like this really funny meet cute where there's this whole thing with their cat and it's bumhole basically, and yeah, it's a whole funny thing. Abby Menez has really like funny, unique meet cutes. But they have this like amazing date, and then the next day she basically has to go across to LA because she's gonna go care for her mother. And there's this whole thing of like this long distance and everything like that, and a lot of people thought that it was very unrealistic, and a lot of people thought that Xavier did too much and Samantha wasn't willing to do much for that. But I thought it was like, I thought like the third act was resolved really well, and like it was the best possible outcome that could have happened. Like obviously he has his practice, his vet practice, and like he could have up and gone, but like there was money issues and things like that. But like I feel like it was easier for him to move than it was for her, because she's literally caring for her mother that's got dementia. Do you know what I mean? So if they wanted to be together, it was easier for him to move than her. So I don't really know. Yeah, there was certain parts of this I did like connect to, like the things with like the beach and growing up by the beach. I say this every time when I speak about this, but that's why I connected to this so much, because there was so many things about Samantha speaking about like memories and making memories by the beach, and like just being back in LA and being back by the beach and things. Take a shot every time I say beach, but it was just so good. I love this so much. Okay, I found it. So it speaks about like being at the beach, and like I grew up by the beach. I just love being by the beach. It's my happy place. I couldn't ever think about not living next to the beach. But there's a quote that I always speak about, and it's just like my favourite thing about this book. But it's perfect for his first time laying eyes on the sea. I couldn't recall the first time I saw the ocean. I'd been too young to remember. The Pacific was just so ingrained, it was part of my very foundation. And even though I didn't remember the first time, I had plenty of family memories over the years. These are the kinds of things that Mum still remembered. Core memories so old, they'd be the last to go. She was forgetting from the present backward, her life on rewind, people and places and experiences blurred and vanished. Maybe at the end all that would be left with a memory like this one. A final memory like this wouldn't be so bad. And it was so sad, like her mum's sort of like forgetting so much, and her dementia's like progressing so quickly, and like it just makes you think about like living in the moment and just living there and then, and not trying to like think about the future and plan about the future. And don't get me wrong, like thinking about the future and making plans is really exciting, but like just living in the moment and just trying to take like a mental image of where you are in that moment, I think it's just so good, because you never know like what's gonna happen. You might one day forget these memories, and it's really sad. It is really sad when you think about it. Like It was just, I don't know, it just hit home. It did really hit home. And then another honourable mention, we have got Glow of the Evelyn by Pen Cole. This is the second book in the Kindred's Curse series. I really enjoyed this. This was a 4.5. Yeah, another 4.5. The first book was a 5-star. I did enjoy the first book more than I enjoyed this one. I think because it was a bit longer, there was a few bits in it that like sort of lulled a bit for me. But I really did enjoy it. 4.5 is still an amazing read. And the end, like Pen Cole knows how to write a cliffhanger. She really does. I can't really explain to you about the world and the things it is about because I would butcher it. You just have to go into the Kindred's Curse series with a clear mind and an open mind and just you get the best experience that way. But I think I really enjoyed like the romance and the slow burn and everything that we had in this, and like it's not really enemies to lovers but like loathe to lovers that we had, and like just the slow burn is so good. But then we had like, you were kind of promised like these, like a trial of some sort, like a trial to the death maybe, something like that I was expecting more from, and I think that's what let it down a bit for me. But then we got to the end of this and I was like, what is going on right now? Like, whoa. Honestly, whoa. But I do really want to read the third book, and I said in my physical TBR video, which I'm currently uploading as I'm filming this video, but I've said in that I do really want to read the third book, but I initially wanted to hold off from the third book because it was rumours that the fourth book was meant to be coming out this summer, but Pen Cole still hasn't announced the release date. So I think I am going to read the third book, and then I'll just do a reread of all three when the fourth book comes out, whenever that is. Miss Pen Cole. And then another honourable mention for these three books, these three babies. Oh, just look how stunning they are. I love these so much. These are my three favourite books of the series. I read the first two last year, and then I didn't pick up the third book until this spring, I think it was. It was around about springtime anyway. And I've just devoured these last three books. I really have. I love these so much. I don't know what I've individually rated them. I think this was maybe like a 4.25 or a 4.5. This was a 4.75, then this was a 4.5. Roughly about that. But I love these books. These are my babies. All three of these men. I don't care about the women. It's the men. Like Daddy Kai, yes. Mr. Isaiah Rhodes, yes. And my baby Rio, yes. Just every single one of them I loved. But especially my Rhodes brothers. Like an honourable mention for my Rhodes brothers. There's this sound on TikTok that gets me every single time, and it's a quote from Play Along that's like to do with Kai, and like, it breaks my heart every single time, and it's just so good. Like, I love this series. When I first read Mile High, like, I would honestly just say skip Mile High, because a lot of people read Mile High and they're like, oh, this series isn't for me. Just skip Mile High. Don't even bother. It's not worth it. Mile High was like a 3-star. I wasn't the biggest lover of it, and even after that, the characters don't really play that big of a role. Like, they're mentioned, but you know, they don't play that big of a role. They're mentioned and they're spoken about, and like Liz Tomford does do the sort of like explaining in each and every book. Do you know what I mean? So just skip it. You don't have to read it. Just go straight in with the right move, which honestly was like so good. I love that. Like, Ryan Shea, he's a good man, but he's not my favourite man. These three men are my favourite. Yes, they are. But I am definitely really sad that the Windy City series is finished. I was so reluctant going into this because I was like, it's gonna be over. I'm not gonna have any of my men left to read about. But we are gonna have a spin-off of what's his name? It's at the back. Emmett Montgomery, which is the dad of Miller from this book. I cannot wait for that. And then on to our last honourable mentions, we have got here A Promise of Peridot by Kate Golden. This is the second book in the Sacred Stones trilogy. This was a 4.75. I devoured this. This is so good. I think I read this maybe in like a 24 readathon, or just like in a mood reading vlog, I think it might have been. Anyway, not relevant. But this was so good. I really enjoyed this. The first book was a 5-star, which is Dawn of Onyx. The third book, we are not going to speak about. I am pissed about that book, okay? I'm so pissed because tell me why the third book in the series was such a flop. It's a trilogy, okay? The first book of this trilogy was a 5-star. The second book of the trilogy was a 4.75, and then the third book you'd expect to be amazing, but it was not. It wasn't. But this book, it was so good. Like the ending was like, what? I was not expecting that ending. And like the middle bits and everything, like the plot of trying to find the blade of the sun and the prophecy and just like going to different parts of the world, and like, oh, it was so good. I did really enjoy this. And like the romance we had, the romance of Cain and Arwen, so good. And then like the side romance we have between Griffin and Mary is like so good. Honestly, thinking of it, I'm like, if I reread this could be potential 5-star. I don't know why I rated it 4.75, but obviously in the moment, I'm like, it was a 4.75. But like, I could potentially reread this and be like, that's not 5-star. I mean, compared to this bloody third book, this is 5-star material. So disappointed in the third book. If you want to see me crash out about the third book, watch my most recent 24 readathon. And then last but not least, another honourable mention is Jessa Hastings, The Conditions of Will. This is so good. I rate this a, what did I actually rate this? Is it a 4.5 or a 4.75? This is a 4.75. I did really enjoy this. I think the only reason, the only reason it wasn't 5-star was because like I felt really, the ending was really rushed, and I feel like it was resolved really quickly and not sort of in the best way. Like we had so much drama in this book, and then I feel like the ending was just, oh, poof, it's done. I was just like, whoa, what's just happened? Why is this being resolved? But tell me why I want a spin-off of Storm. If you know, then you know. Is his name Storm? Or have I just made that up in my head? But it's like George's ex. But I was like, there's a mention. I'm gonna need to find it. Okay, his name is Storm. Now Storm, there's like a crossover ever so slightly of Julian Hates from the Magnolia Park series. Because I think Storm kind of works for Julian Hates. And George used to date Storm, and there's like this whole mention of Julian and Storm, and I was like, she was speaking about her relationship with Storm. And I was like, I want a Storm book of some sort, because Storm, I'm sorry, sounds like the guy that I need to read about. Like, I really do. Like, for it to be like a crossover for the Magnolia Parks, I really want a Storm book. I really do. I really do. Just the way she was speaking about him was so good. But I didn't, so we have like a slight romance in this with Georgia and Sam Penny. He was really cute. But like, I didn't really enjoy this for the romance. And I feel like that's like Jessa Hastings does write romance books, but it's more about the toxicity and the drama. Like the family drama, the friendship drama. It's all about the drama, okay? And there was a lot of family drama in this, okay? A lot. And that's what I was living for. I really was. And then like, not the plot twist, but like the sort of like twist of like the dad and the inheritance and things like that. I loved it. It was so good. I did really enjoy this. It's just a Jessa Hastings book, so I'm going to enjoy it. There's nothing else I can say about a Jessa Hastings book other than I loved it. But Jessa Hastings does have another book out, which is, what's that called? I haven't read it yet, which is very unlike me. Time of Your Life by Jessa Hastings. Yeah, I haven't read that yet, which is very unlike me, but I've seen a lot of mixed reviews, like from people that absolutely love Magnolia Parks and Jessa Hastings books in general. They've rated it really low, and I'm like, oh no, like, ugh. But then I could be the minority of someone that doesn't like it. It's kind of similar to the Abby Jimenez books. I've seen a lot of people rate that lowly who normally rate Abby Jimenez books really high, so I could really enjoy it. Who knows? But once I'm out of my slump, there's so many books that I want to read. There's so many books on my TBR. I mean, if you've just watched my most recent physical TBR video that I've uploaded, then you will know that I have a lot of books on my physical TBR. I have a lot of books that I want to get to, and this slump isn't really helping me, so I need to get out of this slump ASAP. Yes, please. Sorry if it looks like the camera's moved, but my camera died while I was filming the outro, so yeah. So I've had to hop back on and actually finish my intro. But I was just about to say that I hope you guys did enjoy, because I know I did. I love just sitting down and chatting about books. I kind of do, it's kind of my favourite thing to do. But I'm gonna love and leave you now, because I've got another video that I'm going to be filming right now, which is actually something to do with 5-star reads again. So keep your eyes peeled out for that. I'll probably be up after this video, or before, who knows. But just make sure you're subscribed and click the little bell so you do get notified when I do upload. And also comment down below if you've read any of the books, what your thoughts and feelings are, because I love chatting to you guys in the comments. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!